Zeri 3 games in a row. This time, Ruler is contesting that bottom side with his own aggressive pick. The Kalista can be locked in. And this is what we wanted to see. We talked at the start of the day about JDG bringing a bit more presence in the early game. I mean, those two picks would certainly bring presence.
Yeah, I'd love to see the Vi come through too, because it's been something that Kanavi has really been exceptional on. And now for TS, I'm curious. Ooh, the Tristana in mid lane is something it's been back and forth. Some series has been incredibly high prio, banned out first 3 every game, and other times you really see it fall to the wayside. But this is what I'd be more excited to see, because not only do you have just the flex possibility, right? But being able to bring it down in the support role, I feel like is a huge option that is available to them if Flandre gets his hands on something that 369 would not want to run the Rumble into. So does that even exist?
Does it even exist?
Does it even exist?
That'll be the question, won't it? We have already seen Meiko taking that Rumble. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. Yagao goes to the Taliyah. Ahri just left by the wayside. And like you say, it kind of surprises me after how high priority Ahri was in previous series, obviously NIP series especially, that Ahri's such high priority as well. Rookie and Knight, especially the two players that you really think of for that. But Creme going for the Tristana in the end.
Really only not Yagao, right? He's really the only one that hasn't been super big on the pick this split.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But to be honest, I don't dislike the Tristana anyway. It gives you a lot of priority in the mid lane, a lot of ability to scrap in the early game, which is exactly the MO for top esports so far. And I like that Viego ban in that context, right? Because you have a lot of ability to finish that first target and set up for those resets.
Yeah, just a lot of damage available in general. I wonder if TFC is going to ban out any of the other aggressive support pairings, things like the Neeko still being up, if they wanted to go towards the Kalista Neeko and really just try and give Missing an easy time at finding those huge ultimates in the fray. They take away the Rek'Sai. The TF gone again. This really puts a question mark for me where Flandre goes, but it does look like they're thinking about that aggressive 2v2 lane down a bot.
Certainly does feel like it, doesn't it? As the Neeko comes on through for Missing once again. Such a potent combo. I prefer this Neeko to the Neeko of the previous game, and the previous game it looked great for Missing. Missing having a much better series, and what we saw from him the last time these two teams played, the Renekton locked in the top side for 369, and Tian can go for the Sejuani. It's a tried and true combo that it's so difficult to deal with on that top side.
Yeah, and now it even opens up Flandre if he wanted to go kind of just any of the generic tanks. You know, things like the Gragas we've been seeing pop up, or the ORnn, obviously with 369 being in playoffs. Would
Zac.
fit.
Zac
Yeah.
is a tank that's been seeing a little bit more play up to the top side as well.
Would definitely fit their composition, but now that we have these comps fully fleshed out, I like the flex coming out from TS in the end. I was scared of the Neeko coming out earlier for JDG, and it feels like you need something like the Rumble to be able to match the prio and the aggression that would be able to come out in the 2v2 from it. 369 is going to be comfortable on his Renekton, being able to maintain pushing top, and same with the Tristana in mid. So I think this game, you look at the amount of options that Tian should have, and TS as a whole should have in regards to being able to move around the map. It is massive. Prio everywhere.
Yeah,
I guess except bot the first few levels.
Yeah, I mean, Kalista definitely can be terrifying in the first couple of levels, like we talked about in the previous game. Varus takes a couple of levels before his full kit's online, and that's really where he starts to dominate that lane. We'll see if top esports can use that prio though and take over the map. I'm looking towards Kanavi as well, because I feel like when you're in games like this as the jungler, where you don't have a lot of prio to work with, that's where really creative jungling can come through, and we could see truly incredible moments here in the LPL. Yagao's been looking fantastic today. Let's see if those two can pair up for JDG and influence this early game.
And you know, a lot's been talked about the JDG team fight, and that's what's gonna have to come down to this game. When you have things like Call of the Forge God and the ult coming out from Missing on the Neeko, like, these are huge tools that if you're finding 3-4-man CCs, your Kalista and Taliyah should just have a field day in these fights.
They certainly should. Let's see if JDG can bring this composition to life. Much more proactivity in that bottom side once again. No more Zeri today. They're going aggro against top esports, who are bringing so much aggression themselves. It feels really fitting to me, Lyric, that Yagao gets his MVP in the first game win for JDG in this series. We talked already about him defeating Creme in spring playoffs last year, knocking OMG into 4th place, moving on in the bracket. When he was on BLG, he returns home to JDG, and when it matters the most, when they're in the lower bracket, he steps up to the moment and has such a fantastic game on that Azir. Even in game number 1, his Taliyah in the early game, those early picks, they were set up by his walls, and he's on that Taliyah once again.
Yeah, had a great early game in that game 1. Later on, it got a little bit dicier with how he was using the Weaver's Wall, but this is going to be Creme's chance to step back up with being on the Tristana. I really feel like this pick has just been so dominant. Anytime we actually see it make its way to the Rift, and then to be able to step up and have a big performance after Yagao getting the MVP would be huge. But again, a lot of eyes going to be back to the bot lane, which feels fitting, feels like it's where we've been 99% of playoffs, especially when you have this caliber of bot lane on the Rift, and you can already see the trading coming out in spades.
Yeah, and you know, we've talked about 369 rejoining Top Esports. We talked about Yagao rejoining JDG. We're not really talking that much today about the fact that Meiko has joined Top Esports this year, trying to build a new legacy after leaving EDG, a roster move that I don't think many people were particularly expecting from him. But now, a change of scene, and so far so good. He's made it to top 3. Can he make it to finals on his new team against such a prolific organization as well?
I think, you know, would be completely deserved. I think there's a strong argument for JackeyLove and Meiko being the best 2v2 over the split holistically. I think there's no argument about BLG playing around bot better and like their bot working with their jungle incredibly well, and obviously Elkanon are insane, but yeah, I mean, those two really being the bot lane in contention's hell. Missing in Ruler, it was all about them last year, right? Last year was their story and how they were pushing JDG to just conquer the LPL, conquer internationals like MSI. Haven't been able to do it as consistently this split, though with Ruler now going towards the Kalista. Like you said, Zeris are out the window. This is the time.
It certainly is. It feels like this is inevitably just going to be so fun to watch when this starts to kick off on the bottom side. Meiko on the rumble as well. Like, it's just sheer aggression. But only when you find those angles. Level 3 pretty big for both bottom lanes. Tian is in the bottom side of the map, but so is Kanavi. So potential for a little tussle over the Scuttle Crab here as Tian uses that Scry's Bloom. Kanavi spots him. They both move towards the mid lane here. As I don't think this will turn into a scrap, to be honest, as Tian realizes, you know, Creme being pushed in here. Not a whole lot they could do in terms of contesting there. But in the meantime, Meiko sees an opportunity to charge forward and burn them all alive. But JackeyLove got rooted up by missing and turns it into a fairly even trade.
Yeah, both sides, I think, coming out somewhat happy. You did have to use a heal for missing, but also thanks to that, Ruler has an extra potion over JackeyLove, and you know, those small differences actually really come into play the longer this lane goes on, especially now when you're looking at things like JackeyLove having no mana, those trades getting a bit harder. So we're gonna have to keep our eyes on that. But for now, it actually looks like Kanavi wanting to say hi to his former top laner. He didn't say hi, Munch.
He did not say hi. Oh, maybe he did. Maybe he shouted hi from the river and then waltzed back into his own jungle. Absolutely right, though. You know, last year, Kanavi spending a lot of time towards that top side with 369. They, I'm sure, became good buddies over their time across the course of that last year. Remember, these guys winning MSI together last year, and now in a matchup over who gets to go to MSI. 369 getting a bit of damage down onto Flandre. He's just used that Bellows Breath, and it means the flash is forced out. Kanavi can't do anything to answer.
No, not able to find an angle, so the 369 only going to be set up in a better position. And right, this is a lane you don't even have to care about much. It's okay, 369 will be fine on his own, generate a bit of pressure, opens up for you to turn on these scrubs a lot more easily, and then 369 is going to have the lane set up in top to really just try and bully out Flandre.
Nice little trade there. Yagao in the mid lane as Creme just trying to clear these waves. He's already 20 stacks through his cull as well, as he will be forced to reset by Yagao. So nice little bit of laning advantage for Yagao as Tian does manage to get all 3 of those groups. Importantly though, Drake not taken on the opposite side. JDG don't immediately try and force it. Now pings on towards that as missing move mid to help Yagao crash it. You can see Kanavi moving over.
Yeah, nice by JDG. Send missing mid, make sure Yagao gets the easy reset to go for the back. And now you would assume they're probably going to start angling and looking towards this Drake. Red buff will be up for Kanavi soon, so, you know, he'll want to make his way back up towards that top side, but should have some small windows to look down towards bot first and answer. The problem there is Creme already being in mid means he'll be able to push. He could potentially lean down and play in that fog of war. But JDG have a ton of vision in TS's bot side jungle.
They really do.
I guess one ward is not a ton, but around the bot side. Oh, two wards. Look, never mind, Munch.
That's 2 wards, actually.
Yeah.
That's 2 wards, so I'd say that's a ton. Or at least it was. Dan's found it. We'll be able to clear some of that vision. Remember, Kanavi getting close to that level 6 mark. It's a big moment as Creme goes very aggressive in the mid lane, but it's as Kanavi's in the area. And that's Buster Shot burnt in the mid lane.
So no kill going to be able to come through, and once again, Tian just going to have to come to Shadow and make sure that Creme can get out of here safely, but they turn.
Nice dive forwards from Tian as Kanavi now, the target, they can't quite get the stun, and it means the bomb won't go off. The ult comes through, predicting Yagao's flash, but no real follow-up available. I mean, honestly, some of these fights across the course of this series have been really odd to watch. Very, like, disjointed in the way that they're playing out.
Yeah, I think not a great angle there, but they were hoping to find the turn because Kanavi's still not 6. Tian does have smite. Doesn't get
Kanavi's now 6, and Tian doesn't have his own ultimate available. Weaver's Fall denied by Tian, but there's still 2v3 at the end of the day. The stun coming through onto Kanavi, and they find the kill. 2v3, top esports, just demolishing JDG. Flandre, no flash available, and 369, you just know he'll punish up for that one. Stun comes on through and slices him in 2.
What a beautiful performance coming out from TES. 2v3, like you said, TM denying Yagao for being on the right side of the wall. It's an early game for Renekton, so 369's popping off, and we see Creme benefiting as well with plates in mid.
My lord, what a fight from top esports. And if you're ruler right now down in that bottom lane, you are swiping that sweat from your brow, because that is not how that was meant to go.
I love there the Q from Tian onto Yagao. And again, early game Renekton is insane. It's one of the reasons why teams with Renekton usually get those first set of grubs uncontested, gets in there, gets the healing from the Q, and they can very easily follow running this up with the passive from Tian. Let's remember that Yagao had to use his TP in mid to avoid dying there, and then 369, I mean, now we're going to be 2-0 up on this Renekton.
It just...
Black Cleaver!
Black Cleaver, man! What is this? 369 just going absolutely insane. Really great stun. Like, set up by 369. Tian sets it up then onto Kanavi so that 369 can flash forward and finish that kill. Dodges the knockback. I mean, it was just played immaculately. And now set off to the races. I mean, they could kind of just abandon 369 at this point. Tian can just play for the bot side.
And 369 also have a lot of opportunities to move, whether that's just, you know, getting vision in enemy jungle around the Crud camp, helping secure grubs and heralds. Like, there's going to be so much he's going to be able to do now with the amount of pressure he can exert top. And again, crazy. A lot less bot side focus this series, and it's being shown in the Drakes. I feel like every series we've had leading up to this, 5 to 6 minute Drakes now, almost going on the 10-minute mark, and JDG haven't even looked once.
Tian, I thought he was going to go for the grubs there. Does have prio. Flandre has flash available now, and his ult is about to come off cooldown as well. This could be a tough dive to pull off, but let's see. Black Cleaver already there for 369 as they dive underneath Tian, tanking, using that aftershock. I said it could be tough. Not even remotely. Not a bead of sweat on anyone's brow there.
I mean, just having first completed item this early, right, is too much to be able to deal with Flandre looking like paper. So JDG in response finally do pick up a Drake for themselves, and it even looks like they want to stop Tian from going for these grubs. With this health bar, I don't think you should be able to get more than one at best, probably.
He's trying to take one without using that smite to potentially contest a second, but well, I mean, with this much presence from JDG, surely there's no way he moves back in for anything here. So we'll just be 4-2 on the Grubs. Once again, that seems like a theme that's starting to build over the course of the series. But just take a second and look at the goal difference right now, because it is 2,500 in favor of Top Esports, and 369 is not walking to the top lane right now, my friend. He is headed to that bottom side. You see Flandre has swapped Tom down. Ruler and Missing have swapped top side. 369 is not giving Flandre a second to breathe if he can help it.
No, and this is where, I mean, we're really going to have to see JDG cross-map the hell out of this. Like, anywhere 369 is, will be a losing fight for JDG. So I expect to see Kanavi especially link up against JackeyLove and Meiko quite a bit. Again, we're going to see if Yagao ever gets a moment to try to link up too, but that should be really hard up against Tristana with how quickly Creme can just clear those waves.
This feels like it's going to be an incredibly difficult next few minutes for JDG. Now, one thing I will say, you know, you've got an ORnn on the top side, you've got a Taliyah in the mid lane. You do scale decently well in the mid game. Oh, nearly a pick there from Tian. Nice flash from Yagao, keeps himself safe. Meiko had moved in as well, has that equalizer.
I think that is such a nice example, though, of how hard this could be for JDG, because that was very non-committal by TES, right? You're throwing out the Sejuani ultimate, rocket jumping with the Tristana, and immediately Yagao has to flash. It's going to set up for such an easy fight the next time around, whether it be now having to worry about, like, if an equalizer's dropped on you, Yagao, he ain't going anywhere. 369 finds an angle. Like, there's so many things that are going to be so hard, with TES not even having to commit to really create that level of pressure.
JDG moving down towards this bot lane tower, but I really don't know. With Tian in the area, and 369 being as strong as he is, I'm not sure that this is really the dive angle that they want it to be. Now Missing slowed as well, gets knocked up. 369 toying with the idea as a TP towards this top side. JackeyLove flashes in a straight line. And now the Weaver's wall down. JackeyLove nowhere to go on this one. Taken down, Yagao finds a kill.
Yeah, now we're going to have to see if they can answer back on bot. There's going to be some nice plates going over to the JDG side. On the minimap, you can see the posturing coming out from Meiko and Tian, but it seems like at the end of the day, I'm just going to send 369 top and decide to cover this lane and make sure no more plates go down to the Taliyah.
JackeyLove, bit of a unceremonious catch out there for the fact that he flashes as well and still goes down. I will say that ult combo coming out from ORnn and Taliyah, very good at burning a flash and then punishing that lack of flash immediately with the Weaver's wall. Missing has been caught out, slowed down here, trying to stack up that stun but can't get the other auto. And Ruler punishes Tian even for looking.
Yeah, sadly, not enough damage here with only the two of them, right? You have literally anyone else with them, 369, Creme, or JackeyLove. And maybe you can get a bit off that, but Missing only going to have to utilize the heal to get through with that one. Dragon up in a minute and a half, but Herald will be up in 30 seconds. We should assume that that one should be JDG's with where 369's right now in the lane.
I mean, 369 is going to finish this tower off, and Flandre, you got to get out of dodge, my friend. That's another 600 gold, basically, into his pocket. He's not recalled since he picked up his boots. I'm curious how much he's going to get. Nice flash from JackeyLove. I mean, not it anyway, but even if you dodge that knockup, the Weaver's wall still stops you.
You're just, exactly. So. He's just dead, right? The flash should have been better, but at the same time, he is just dead. He sees ORnn, panics, presses the flash key, and does ultimately go down. Now Herald up, so again, this should be top esports. We'll see how pressured JDG feel to fight this, because I think there's no world where they win. It looks like they understand that, and they feel like, all right, probably just try and play towards that next dragon, but one shot, that next dragon's coming up soon.
It certainly is, and Equalizer currently on cooldown, but that's the only ultimate that's on cooldown for Top Esports. I think the Equalizer will be up just shortly after the Drake, so if it's not an immediate take, I mean, Top Esports will be in prime position to fight for that one, and that is they've got a terrifying combo of abilities, like with the Sejuani ultimate as well as the Varus ultimate to lock people in place with an Equalizer underneath everyone. Like, even with, like you said, the kind of non-committal fighting from Top Esports is incredibly potent.
Yeah, the one thing they have to fear is JackeyLove has no flash. So, right, Kanavi can just full send it on him. If someone else like Missing can also find an angle, JackeyLove might just go down before he has a chance to play. Once 369 gets involved, it really should be hard for anyone other than Kanavi to find access to the backline.
Looks like Top Esports not going to actually commit for a fight. Oh, the Weaver's wall denies the Herald. Nicely done there by Yagao. And in fact, JDG not only get themselves the Drake, but the Weave as well stops the trade in mid lane.
Yeah, no trade, no fight able to come through, nothing. Despite, again, what a strong position they're in with a 3K gold lead. So a bit behind on the times for TS with 369.
Oh my god, Dominus popped it already. Yagao's basically dead, trying to get away, but there's nowhere to run. Missing 4-star flash, and he's absolutely minced. In the meantime, JackeyLove getting dived, and Flandre happy to tank for Ruler.
And right, no flash. Call of the Forge God we can see from Flandre, you know, came out before we were on screen, so JackeyLove not having a whole lot of room is... Kanavi, you're not going to be able to follow that one.
Uh-oh. Oh, combo comes on through, but there's not really a lot of damage onto Creme. The Buster Shot keeps him safe, and 369 has arrived on the scene. The damage is there, missing will fall, and they walk away with their lives on top.
It is getting messy, it's getting scrappy, but at the end of the day, TS are still the ones coming out ahead. Almost bringing it up to 5K gold lead. JDG, they do have the ORnn. They are stacking up Drake, so there's still a win con there, but look at these bounties and score lines across the whole top half of the map. And this has been the map that we were saying, like, TS leaning on bot lane all playoffs, all about the 2v2. They don't even need that to perform, but here, I mean, again, he has no flash from the previous play. Just great on JDG calling for it and committing to the dive.
So far, the ults from Flandre have been pretty on point with this ORnn. While he is 0-2, he's playing ORnn, so he's going to be relevant later on regardless. And so far, mechanically looking decent on the champion. It's almost a 5,000 gold lead though, so whether or not that scaling conversation ever enters, especially with the lethality Kalista, it's a whole different kettle of fish at this point. 369 has definitely been the top laner to talk about today. JackeyLove as well, having a bit of an awkward game, getting caught out a couple of times, a couple of misplays coming out from him, and great punishment from JDG. Problem is, that punishment really isn't matching the level of punishment that's coming out from top esports elsewhere.
No, and right, it almost worked off so well with them being able to get the dragon, get the hell out of there, deny the herald. But at the same time, it's like once TS really just hard lean one side and go for the committal, it's so hard to be able to answer back at this point in time. I think really until your Taliyah starts getting exceptionally strong, it's going to be rough. But I do like that they've clearly noticed, hey, our game plan is, you know, blow JackeyLove's flash, have an easy target to be able to follow up on. So we'll see now, especially if Flandre tries to set anything up, because like you've noted, he's had some pretty good Call of the Forge Gods this game to make sure that JackeyLove doesn't have that summoner available.
I like the idea of some of the stuff JDG have been doing this game. Unfortunately, it's just you're against 369, and Tian's on the champion that's perfectly setting him up. Dominus actually going to be used on the top side as well. Black Cleaver stacked. Call of the Forge God, can it save Flandre's life? He doesn't even have flash available, and Meiko's coming too, but it's gonna... Oh no, Meiko steals it! You cheeky bugger!
Wanted to come in only for the assist, ends up taking the kill. I thought when his player cam popped up, there'd be some cheeky bants going on, but you know, between them. But seems like Meiko is all business. Doesn't matter who gets the kill. All that matters is getting the kill itself and it leading to the dub. Because another thing me and you were talking about during break is, you know, even with game 2, so far it looks like TES has been the better team, right? We have a 3-0 to pull from. We're down to our 3rd game, really having a better read on the map and playing out some of these skirmishes and team fights especially. JDG clearly still have had nice moments on the map and in some fights, but this lead just feels insurmountable. Especially again with the Tristana, with how quickly she can just take any objective.
It feels slightly one-sided, doesn't it, Lyric? So far, I really don't think you mind having a bunch of extra gold into your Rumble's pocket either. It's certainly going to be nice for them. Baron spawning in 20 seconds. So is that Hextech Drake, which JDG have done a good job of getting the first 2 Drakes. So at least the Soul is not really a win condition from top esports. But to be honest, I don't think that's going to matter all too much.
No, doesn't feel like, you know, it feels like this game's probably going to come down to a fight around Baron, some type of Baron push. But hell, that also reminds us of another win condition that JDG have. Is that 50-50 Baron coming through? I think TS have been a lot better today about peeling off, not just going, hey, it's already this low, like, just go for the smite, and really having a good idea of how they want to play around that objective. So hopefully it won't fall to that. But again, TS are able to take Dragon or Baron really fast, especially now with Creme being on that second item. Navori finally finished up.
Yeah, Leandri's almost finished with Meiko, but he's not able to reset just yet, as Drake will be taken down. JDG in the area, maybe thinking about fighting this. I don't know if it's a fight they can realistically win, but a 5-man presence on this bottom side regardless.
Just making sure that they get all their camps and that they don't allow TES to get in there and take their defensive control wards. So overall, really nice JDG establishing themselves, especially when you look at top side. There's nothing you can take anyway, right? There's no outer turret on top side. Sure, I guess you can try and get a bit more deep vision in there. You already have a ward covering on top of what you already have in the river itself.
Yeah.
So overall, JDG doing a nice job of just shadowing where TS's presence is to make sure that they don't get too much or an objective that's too big.
Oh, JackeyLove actually ulting onto missing here, forces the Fate's Call. Ult for ult out of our AD carries. And the Baron up on the map. Fate's Call being down against a Neeko is pretty valuable.
Yeah, it's going to be massive. And now it also just means for missing, I mean, he could just be so vulnerable, right? Like we said, TS have a lot of ways to start off a fight from a distance, or at least put some damage down from a distance. So making their way now, already pushing up top, mid-wave clear. They could start getting more aggressive jungle, aggressive vision in the enemy jungle. Even 369 joining up is something I really like. Just making sure that JDG have to feel pressure from all sides of the map.
Moving in towards this mid-tier 1, 369, joining his team, and that is enough presence for JDG to just back away completely. Not too surprising on that one, as 369 just continues to clear this vision away. It's a nice little bit of damage coming out from Yagao, but it won't lead to much, and maybe leads to his own demise as Tian gets over the wall. Doesn't commit his own ultimate. I wasn't sure if they were going to try and force something. It maybe would have been an overstep.
I think 369 very clearly looked like he wasn't sure either, right? As he started to walk away, right, as Tian went in. Maybe if they both kept going, you could have forced a flash out of Yagao, but at the same time, I think there would be threat to get collapsed on, especially from someone like Missing still having that Pot Blossom there. So in the end, backing off is the right call. It feels like now this is where, after these resets, that TS should once again just really start looking to poke and prod in that red side jungle. You have Tian's ultimate up. You really should have the ability to, at the very least, start forcing some summoners down right now.
Yeah. And you know, this series kind of is a little reminiscent of Top Esports versus JDG back in 2020. A few of those games did end up going a little bit slower, and then leading to big late game fights. The one downside right now is that Top Esports are so far ahead in gold that I'm not sure the big late game fights are necessarily going to be that even, is the concern. But so far what we've seen from both teams is an ability to hold on in these games, an ability to challenge despite advantages and disadvantages. So I'm hopeful that JDG can find something. And what they showed us in game number 2 as well, the way that they played around the map, gives me hope for this series, that they can challenge a little bit more. Yes, they're behind right now, but the way that they got 3-0'd previously was pretty much down to map play from Top Esports. It doesn't feel like that's as big of an advantage for TES today as it was in the previous series.
And for TES, they had an incredibly close series against BLG. If anyone out there missed it, went all the way to 5 games. I might need to pause because we have a TP coming out from 369. Flandre, say hello.
Oh boy, he has his TP available. He's going to try and get away with a recall. Has flash up as well. A recall ain't going to work. There's a flash. There's a charge as well as 369 looking for a little bit more. The rest of the team coming over as 369 actually dashes forwards towards Flandre. He is not afraid of the reinforcements from JDG. He just walks at them menacingly, and it pays off.
With the help of the equalizer for Meiko, they finally get one. They see Yagao on the bot side, so you know they're going to go for this Baron, and at the very least just try to pull that TP from Yagao.
And now Baron started off, and this is not one that they need to 50-50. Kanavi already chunked as well as 369 playing that zoning game. No dominance available for him, so not as tanky as he'd like. Kanavi just about gets away with his life, but that's his flash gone, his health bar gone. And Top Esports, they don't even fully peel off of the Baron.
No, and like you said, Kanavi's low, so trying to get a bit of health back by fighting these Raptors, but it's gone. Yagao tries to go for the steal, but Tian manages to get away.
The flick pack not quite enough. Tian getting solo there, but great play from Top Esports. Not just 50-50, that's what we want to see.
Yeah, again, it's been a lot better in that regard coming out from TES today. The amount of fear that, how fearless 369 was in that top brawl, especially as I'm thinking like, man, your dominance is timing out. It's ticking down. I don't know if you could do this still. No fear in the world. Great to see from JDG.
I mean, 4-0-4, he's wanting a second MVP, I think, right now. This is, or at least the way it's going right now, it feels like he's the candidate for me. And JackeyLove sat there, 0-2-0. He represents me in solo queue. The rest of these are my wins in solo queue when the top laner pops off or the mid laner pops off, and I'm just trying my best not to die more.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Is, you know, I saw TP coming out in mid, and I don't know why them waiting in brush and top made me think that something was going to happen, but it looks like Munch that JDG could potentially just lose some of their base for free.
Realistically, I don't know how hard they could contest anyway.
Yeah, true.
It's the siege composition as well. It's a lethality Varus and a Tristana in the mid lane. And then you've got so much snap, engage, and damage from long range from the supporting cast. It feels so incredibly difficult to break the siege from the side of JDG. Flick back onto Creme. Yagao's been doing a good job of landing those W's. It's just, the team is so far behind, I don't know how much you can follow up on it. Flandre kicked out of the bottom side.
So gonna just have to back off for now, but still, they're fine playing this out. Hell, they still even have tools to try to force JDG back, like the equalizer. Play we see many times, right? Drop the equalizer, force them back, and just finish off the 2 yourself. Looks like they might not even need to do that here with having 2 Baroned up cannons.
Just playing it slow and steady. You can see 369 moves over to that mid lane while everyone's here defending on the bottom side. The long range damage. They can just keep this up all day long. They've still got a full minute of Baron remaining. And they'll just keep it going. The cannon finally dies, but with this wave, everybody can move in. That'll be one inhib tower taken. 369 clears the next wave. You can see it's moving on forwards. Flandre tries to start the play. Not buffered by Creme. This is the chance as the pop blossom hits 3 as well. But can they finish the carries? The answer is no. 369 doesn't even bat an eye. TES lose nothing as 369 tries to finish ruler on the fountain. This was a massacre. Top Esports complete control in the 3rd game of the series. And JackeyLove even gets one at the end.
TES now 1 game away from making MSI. They've never been. Let's think back to 2020, you know, the year when Top Esports were the top team, when they were, you know, going to finals. There was no MSI that year, Munch. We had MSC. So it would be great for TES pick up 1 more game and finally make it to that international event.
I have to say, Top Esports looked real good at MSC as well. It's a shame that tournament is kind of just discounted. Obviously, you know, it wasn't the same level of as MSI, but even still, disappointing for them that year that they didn't get to show off in the way that everyone wanted. They are 1 game away from having that opportunity to show off on the international stage. We'll find out if they can do it after the break.